What's going on, guys? Titanium Fist here, and I just wanted to react to it's ex-martial official, and they were yapping on about some Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So that UFC just changed jiu-jitsu forever. This was literally posted like either yesterday or like a couple hours ago. They've not changed jiu-jitsu. I will admit they've opened America specifically to a lot of the sport, but they haven't done anything new. Immediately with that title, Craig Jones did this, or Cry Combat did this, One Championship did this. This isn't anything new, like, at all. The only thing they did new was a bowl, and China did that first. But my martial arts nerds will get what I'm referencing with the bowl. But anyway, I just wanted to weigh in here, I guess. Now, obviously, I can't show the full clip because they'll just copyright claim me and get rid of me. But no one's watching this one because I think no one agrees. The main points were, hey, athlete pay. Let's took some wild guesses on that. I don't even. I'll get into that in a minute. They're talking about world stage and okay, let's just get into this and let's see how this goes. So let me find my bit. Okay, so we can watch a few seconds of this, then I have to pause and get rid of and can.
This video, we're diving into how UFC BJJ actually works, why they picked these fighters, what they got paid, how X-Martial ended up in the middle of it, and whether this is the future of grappling or just really good marketing. So, first, let's understand how UFC BJJ actually works. UFC BJJ is the UFC's brand new take on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but they're not just filming dudes rolling on a gym mat. They turned it into a full-blown show. Here's how it worked. Two weight classes, 155 pounds and 170 pounds. 8 fighters in each division. They all live and train together. They compete in a series of matches, not a one-night tournament.
Okay, starting off strong. That's just the Ultimate Fighter. That's not just the Ultimate Fighter. That's like Extreme 8. They do kickbox. They do Muay Thai. If you remember Andrew Tate, that was his kickboxing reality TV show. I'm surprised. Actually, they still produce some pretty great kickboxers, as an aside. He just described the Ultimate Fighter. The reality TV show aspects of it, I like it because I'm a guy and I enjoy reality TV, but like, it's not new. UFC popularized it. UFC BJJ reality TV show didn't do anything new. It's same old tried and true. You know, again, Extreme 8. Oh, that's what it's called. I might be wrong on that one. One championship with their one Friday fights. UFC with the Ultimate Fighter, which is seeing its biggest decline in years. It's a novelty, and as someone who enjoys that novelty, I'm here for it. But the reason they got that viewership is one, because it, free live on YouTube. So I was going to watch it. They knew they couldn't put it behind a paywall, which they did everything else. It's every they got lots of views because it was all just UFC fans, and that's great. Jiu-Jitsu deserves that. However, it didn't really like. It was no different than any other reality TV show that involves this concept. There wasn't really anything new. I did care about the guys, but I didn't really. The guys I cared about in the end were the same guys I cared about at the start because in their interviews they weren't a dick. You know, like most of the guys from Texas, I didn't like from the start because they seemed like dicks. You know, so that's an interesting argument. You know, and not being funny. Yeah, with the fighter selection, like some of them, they got some world beaters in there. They got some absolute world beaters. Namely the champions. Like they were kind of not being funny. A lot of them were handpicked to win. Like we all kind of knew who was gonna win in the end. Quite predictable. Mikey was great, but his opponent had never had a no-gi match in his life. They couldn't secure a better no-gi grappler. They couldn't secure one. The UFC is about 10 years late to the lockdown jiu-jitsu game. A lot of other organizations got there first. A lot of them have much better competition. One championship is the big one. Rotolo Brothers, Baby Shark, they got some of the fucking best grapplers to ever fucking exist. To ever walk this fucking planet. And not just that, ADCC won. Not no, the CGI won even. Craig Jones Invitational won. UFC Bjj Champ at welterweight lost to the Rotolo brother. He lost. Under all the screws we want to throw, he lost. We know for a fact that means one has the superior grappler to him in that weight division just immediately. UFC refused to allow their competitors to go to CGI2 in fear that they would lose because UFC can't co-promote. It's not co-promotion, it's for charity. Fuck over yourself. And also, that's not true. When they were the little guy, they co-promoted with everyone left. So, Pride knows full well how much the UFC wanted to co-promote with them. Yeah. So no. You just immediately off the bat, nothing new, nothing exciting. It's Ultimate Fighter for Jiu-Jitsu. You know? It's fine. I like it because I like reality TV. I still like The Ultimate Fighter when I can watch it. I refuse to pay for it, but, you know, I just watch clips on YouTube and I sit there and go, yeah. No, nothing new, nothing too exciting.
Matches, not a one-night tournament. Each match is 3 rounds, 5 minutes each. Judges score it using the 10-point must system, just like MMA. That means they judge based on subs, aggression, and controls, not on who cuddled the longest.
Immediately. One, yes, UFC were the first to find one of the first to implement a 10-point must system into the BJJ. You know, a few others, smaller ones have done it. It's a good system, but, you know, Craig Jones, he set the standard for aggression. Like, we watched the early UFC past BJJ stuff. Oh, yeah, there's some bangers. A few of them just cuddle matches. That's fine. Jiu-Jitsu will end up a cuddle match when the opponent's very evenly matched. It's just simply how it works. Even CGI had an issue at the second event. You know, it turned up. You know, that's not a new idea. They did it fine. They did it great. There's a lot of aggression, but that's more the guys they picked. That was just their style. You know, like they didn't. A lot of those guys aren't the best in the world. Let's just spit it out. Some of them are. Some of them are actually some of the best in divisions, but you know, they filled out the ranks with people they knew would kind of bang and make an interesting show. They put the monetization first and skill second, which is not what they did in the early UFC. UFC was all about getting the best guys and looking professional, and they needed them to be good fighters so they would look crisp and real and like a professional sport, not like two drunk guys getting in a random cage and just going at it. So, let's see, let's see, let's see.
Here's the twist. They fight in a pit.
I also do want to say the pit karate combat, the best combat sports arena. I will die on this hill that it is legitimately the best thing that's ever happened to combat sports was the pit. You know, the fishbowl, like it's good. Like karate combat, can nailed it. Actually the best thing ever. Now we're getting on to the subject of fighter pay. Now this is one that's going to tick me off because fighters are not paid enough to begin with at the highest level. Rotang pulls in, I think it's 500,000 a fight to show up in one. Demetrius Johnson, over 3 fights, made 1.3 mil. You can do the maths on that yourself. I couldn't be asked to. That is not enough for that world caliber contest. So we'll see. Also, none of this is official. Mikey won't even talk about what he's been paid. He wore the money, Rashgard, to get more money. But, you know, we're going to have to cover this, and that might be cool.
This is UFC Bjj. And for once, grapplers actually got paid.
Not for once. Craig Jones, other competitions, Craig Jones literally then made ADCC showing up fee. You make it to ADCC, you get paid to show up now. Not a lot, but it's better. Craig Jones did that. UFC didn't. One did that first as well. They were paying those really well. Mikey was ordering his life out in Asia, living off his one championship winnings. All of those grapplers are. Rotellers have switched to MMA because they've got they got so much money from the Craig Jones Invitational, but also they literally just were like, we've got all our accolades and we can now do some MMA for fun. A bit more money, but like UFC's not the first to pay well. And I don't think it even pays as good as one, from at least what I've heard of one championship fight. What some of those grapplers have been made, even on One Friday Fights, they were making similar amounts for a bit more.
Exact numbers haven't been officially released.
Yeah, so it's all speculation.
But here's what's been reported. Top-level athletes like Mikey Musumeci were already pulling $50,000 performance bonuses in one championship.
Yes, it was. That was just his performance bonus. It wasn't his paycheck.
And likely brought home a six-figure check for UFC BJJ.
Estimated from sources. What is your source? He wouldn't fucking say it. From what we can gather, he got paid similar at one. He that much he kind of confirmed on the DJ podcast, like when he was with Craig. Like, that's an aggressive estimate. Okay. Andrew Tackett. See, I could believe Andrew Tackett got paid 150 because he went to the Rotolo and lost for ADCC. I could believe he's making 150k. But until I see a pay stub, I ain't believing that. So you're telling me Andrew Tackett is being paid a similar amount to what DJ was being paid in 2016, 2015, whatever it was? I'm saying similar in they're in the ballpark of each other, but like that's ridiculous. Like we've seen, ranked UFC fighters not make that, having second jobs. They're not being funny. This weak division getting paid. I don't believe that for a second. I don't believe Dana White's stingy little ass is going to pay that when fighters still getting paid 12 and 12 on their opening contracts. Don't fucking believe that. See, now this is Dana White. Now that one is believable. You just show up and do it, but we don't know how many events they're going to have a year. We've had two so far throughout the year. We're like halfway through the year already. Realistically, there's going to be 5 events this year. 5 times 6. Right, so that's what? 30,000. Something like that. If you're one making 6. That's if you're making 12 and 12, so you start 10-10, you fight 3 times a year, you win 1, lose 2. You've still made more. It's not, the math is not mathing here for good. We yell about fighter pay so badly, and we're going to say this is good. It's good to be paid anything at all, but it's not okay to be paid even less than the most take advantage of MMA fighters. They should be paid at least the same, and it's fit to begin with. This is I don't know how you expect to cultivate and grow world-class talent when they can't afford to live. Not just that, you aren't giving enough budget, you don't afford to bring in world-class talent, because guess what? No one wants to sign an exclusive contract if they're going to be paid shit. Mikey's getting paid so much because he's a world-class name, one built him up so much, and he can demand that. Craig can demand that. He got priced out of the UFC stuff. He talks about how shit they were offering to pay him. But I partly don't believe that Mikey's making so much. I partly believe it because he's one, he has the way to argue for it. But Craig was offered shit. Gordon Ryan's like #1 arch enemy, the guy that's got so close to tapping Gordon so many occasions. If he was offered money, his words are shit. And this man's fucking broke. He just goes, steals money, and travels the world. I don't believe these numbers. This one I believe, but these, I'd be deeply skeptical. Estimated from sources. What is a source? I've seen no interviews. I went looking for interviews about pay. I couldn't find any. Maybe in the UK over here we just get news slower, but You know what? I'm going to say I do love his nickname. I do not know how much I believe that figure, but hey, that's a argument for another day, isn't it?
They ever aired. We were already deep in the scene, backing PGF Season 6, sponsoring Team X Martial, and watching our guys run through the competition. And then what happens? 4 of the PGF standouts get the call to UFC BJJ.
And they all lost. I'm being a dick. The guy on the very right, actually, he was really great. I didn't predict him to win, but I thought he had a shot. But the guy on the middle right, he was a dick and I didn't like him. Don't know about the other two. You know, UFC BJJ 2 was way more boring than the first one. The first one was really exciting. The second one was really boring. Throw him out there.
Elijah Carlton.
David Asaya was so good. Fuck Elijah, he was a cunt. If I'm remembering correctly, I just remember him being a cunt and not liking him. Maybe it was just his maybe it was just his, nonce moustache. But like, I don't know, it just didn't sit well with me.
Is the future of grappling?
No. Well, yes it is, sadly. Exclusive contracts will be the future of grappling, I do sadly believe. But I don't think it's necessarily a good future. It can be, but I would argue there's like 3 other promotions that have, on average, the superior grapplers to the UFC. And like, it doesn't have. It's like when it started out in MMA. Like, it doesn't quite have the stranglehold. Pride had the best heavyweights. All the heavyweight class Pride had. And, there were other small promotions that, because the UFC didn't have small guys. So it's a bit like that. They're fighting an uphill battle, and I don't think they're going to be willing to sink this much money into it for that long without seeing a return. And they're not going to see that big of a return. You can estimate how much they've made just off the YouTube views, and that's basically all the money comes in the merch and stuff. The big draw is Mikey, and you need to get him high-level opponents people have heard of, and they currently don't have that. They might never have that.
Or just smart marketing. UFC BJJ isn't traditional. It's produced, edited, built for a wider audience.
CGI, ADCC, 1 championship. Is it 1 contender I'm thinking of? I can't remember the other one. It's not the first to do it. It's just UFC, and so UFC people watched it. The Americans watched it. In Asia, it's big. In Europe, we got some tournaments over here that are quite big. I've fucking heard of some. I'm just a karate guy and I'm out with the game. I've been out, and I still get feeds and stuff. I'm like, oh, big tournament, 10 grand prize money. It's like Pete Six. It's like, well, if you're the best in your city, you're the best in your town. Guess what? You do a couple tournaments a week. Blah, 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 blah. I know I'm exaggerating and making it look easy, but I don't know. I just think this is not peak. So it's UFC has done a great job, and they put a lot of production value into it. And I love a reality TV show, but we're given a merit for things. Well, Ultimate Fighter they came up with, but we're given a merit for things people did beforehand. Craig Jones is the reason this is even happening. His success with that event put the entire grappling world on its toes. It made ADCC start paying their athletes. It pushed everything. Karate combat and their love of just combat sports in general. It's submission style. It got regular kickboxing fans to sit down and watch some grappling. It won championship, sliding the grappling in their Muay Thai events and the MMA events. They made the groundwork. UFC's jumping on a bandwagon, and they're going to find out pretty quick. They jumped on way too late. They can't monopolize this sport because they don't even have the best in their weight class other than Mikey Musumeci. He's objectively best in their weight class in the world right now. The others are 2nd and 3rd best. They do not even have the best guys, and Mikey's not fighting the other best guys in the world. So how long he holds on to that #1 spot, you cannot know because he's not fighting them. He is the best 135 pound fucking grappler on the face of this planet. In one, he was fighting the best. He cleared the division out. He come over here and he's fighting no one now. He's not fighting people names. He's not fighting the best in the world. He needs top 5s. He needs top 10s to keep his #1 ranking. As long as he's with the UFC, if he's not consistently get the best opponents in the world, he cannot maintain that #1 spot. That's simply how it works. You know, I care. I want all combat athletes to make lots of money. I love combat sports. It was my life. It makes me happy. I don't like the shilling out for the UFC when they're objectively not doing it.
If it
One sec, got a cat.
keeps going this way with
Storytelling, high-level talent, and visibility. This could be more than a cool experiment.
It could be, but that is what this is. It's a cool experiment. Look, if UFC wants to get some more viewers, they can go to the American wrestling system, go to the MMA leagues and start trying to drag some athletes over here. Bring Bro Nickel in. You know, let's see how he does in the BJJ world. They can cut back to 170. We know for a fact he can do it. But like, it is an experiment. If they do not see a return on this, they're gonna dump it quick. I don't see them taking a loss on this for more than like 3-5 years. And they contract system in the BJJ is diverse enough where they can't monopolize quickly. One is paying enough where it's a legitimate option, especially for the lightweight guys. Heavier guys, no, then that's you gotta go find other places. For all Mikey's divisions and stuff, they're literally all at one. In fact, most of 170 is at one. A couple other places you can't monopolize this now, and that's the UFC's big game is they monopolize. Sorry, TKO, can't do it.
It could be the start of something much bigger. UFC didn't just run a show. They opened a door for athletes, for coaches, and yeah, for the brands that have been here
Sparsh, you look like you do half decent clothes. I'm not going to bash you for that. I'm bashing you for shilling for the UFC. Karate Combat did this. The submissions are exciting. Like when they got Aljo in, they got these guys in to do these pit submissions. It was exciting. They did it right. They did it amazing. I'm not here for this. I'm not here for the shilling. I'm not here for any of it. One, Karate Combat. CGI, which is once a year. I get it's once a year. Guess what? If you win £1 million, you don't need to work for a year, do you? There are loads of other. ADCC is now paying. You can prove you're the best in sport by competing at the Olympics of your sport and get paid for it. Not an awful lot. It's about the same what you're being paid on the prelims here, and who knows how long it takes to get a title shot. They literally told whoever it was, I can't remember his name, after he went to he didn't have an exciting finish, they went, you're not getting the title shot. So that was fucking boring. What? That's how this works. Best versus the best. It's your own damn motto. It hasn't been recently, has it? UFC. It's not been your motto recently. It's all about chasing the money. MMA is a sport like any other. You can't become boxing. You can't protect champions. You can't beg for people to win who you want to win. Kickboxing's thankfully still in a state where it is the best versus the best, at least in glory. The ISKA, you can make an argument that it's not, but you know they're doing a lot of events a lot of the time. Stuff falls through the cracks. One is attempt to get best Muay Thai versus best Muay Thai. You know, it's just not it anymore. It's not how this works. You can't. UFC's not it. XMARTIAL, respect being a brand, clothing brand. You know, I respect it. Trying to start my own. Actually, technically, I have one, but it's weird. But like, don't shill for them. Stupid. Jihu.